Okay, let's call to our meeting of Templeton Community Services District Board of Directors. Today is June 18th and it is 7 p.m. Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Directors Bardonic,
Here.
Logan,
Here.
Pearson,
Here.
and Peterson.
Here. Okay, great, everyone's here. Pledge of allegiance, please stand for pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please have a seat. All right, order of business. Do any of the board members wish to change the order of business on any of the? Great. Special reports or presentation. We have Commander Stewart here from CHP. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Be with everyone. This is a report for Templeton CHP for the period of May 2024 with some context from the same period 2023. For the period, there were a total of 15 crashes investigated in and around the Templeton area. 7 of those occurred on the highway, 8 on other county roads. That's off 1 from the prior year, same period. Of those collisions, 11 involved property damage, off 1 also from the prior year. 7 of those down on up on the highway, 4 on county roads. 4 of the accidents involved injury for the month of May. That's the same number as the same period last year. And 3 involved DUI. That's up 1 from the prior year. We're glad to report there were no fatal collisions in and around the Templeton area. We did sustain 1 in our jurisdiction elsewhere. We're still down 1 from the prior year, and we're hopeful that that trend will continue. Remind everyone to not to drive distracted or impaired. There were 140 enforcement contacts in and around the Templeton area. The bulk of those up on the freeway, of course. That 140 is up 20 or 14% from the same period the prior year. And there were 80 citations issued, 73 on the freeway, 7 on county roads. That's up from 69 the prior year. For your information, there were 1,182 enforcement contacts throughout our jurisdiction for the period, and 837 citations were issued. Here in the Templeton area for that period, there were a total of 22 citations issued for speed in excess of the posted speed limit, the bulk of those on the freeway, and there was 1 citation issued for speed in excess of 100 miles an hour. That number is trending down throughout our jurisdiction. It has continued to do so generally over the last couple of years. There were 9 citations for speed in excess of 100 miles per hour throughout our jurisdiction. We continue to work really hard on the freeways, not only with presence, but with enforcement. You'll have noticed there was a lot during the last holiday. We're continuing that press. We feel that it is having a positive impact. There were 8 DUI arrests in and around the Templeton area, 5 on the freeway, 3 on other county roads. There were a total of 28 impaired drivers arrested throughout our jurisdiction for the month of May. And we provided 197 services to disabled motorists. And that's our report.
Great. Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Any public questions? No. Great. Well, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Great. Next item is public comment. Members of the public may address the board on any items of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, but not on the agenda today. In compliance with the Brown Act, the board cannot discuss or act on items not on the agenda. However, board members or district staff members may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public. Are there any public comments that are not on our agenda? Okay, please stand and introduce yourself at the podium. Thank you.
Murray Powell, Kappelman, Vice Chair of TAG. Main reason I came tonight was I had a little correspondence with Jeff last week over a bylaw change you guys are going through tonight was an error, and that's gonna be fine. That's not what I really wanted to talk about. But I also mentioned to him that, one of the things that, I've been thinking about for a long time is that you guys have a liaison to us, and we really appreciate it. We really like Deborah and Pam, who I know is not here anymore. She was great too, but we really appreciate you guys coming, taking the time. And we get a lot out of what you guys have to tell us, because obviously we don't show up as much as we should around here, but anyway, I did mention to Jeff in the email that I thought that maybe we should consider having a liaison to your meetings. To try to get a little more, I mean, we have a lot of stuff, I think, that really is interrelated between what you do and we do, and a lot we don't even understand what you do, but there's still stuff, I think, that going back and forth that's helpful for all of us. So what I wanted to just put that out there tonight. I know you can't do anything about it tonight, but maybe you could consider that. And our meeting is on this Thursday, and I should have brought the agendas for you. I think about it, but I know we send them to, and we have some important stuff coming up. We don't have any real action items, but we have some new projects that are kind of interesting. There's a couple of you probably know all about the Los Tablas gas station situation that got approved by the county. Well, now there's two new ones that applications that just came in that will be on Vineyard Drive and 101. One right on the west corner of 101 and Vineyard, and one on the east corner of Vineyard and 101. And we also have a winery project that is also not an action item, but it's an ongoing review of a Grey Wolf Winery that is asking for a lot of overrides to county land use ordinances. That's gotten to be the practice with the county, which we TAG is not real happy with. So could be an interesting meeting. So anyway. Thank you guys for everything you do, and I hope to hear back from you on the liaison.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Can you make a brief comment on that if you want to? I would assume just repeating the special presentation.
Oh, I think what Murray was suggesting is that TAG would appoint one of their members to come to your meetings. I don't think it would require any action on your part at
so
all.
that's what I was gonna say. It doesn't
It would-
require any action.
Whether they would give a presentation, if there was gonna be comments relayed, they could be done so under special presentations from TAG, or they could just attend a meeting just to kind of keep, I think the idea was to keep the lines of communication open.
So if I may comment, because I attend the TAG as
Right.
a liaison from the district's board here. And I think my observation is that I think that as a resident of Templeton, there's a level of frustration that, you know, what TAB, which is all volunteers, is giving a lot of time to review some of these planning requests that are made to the county. And despite the fact that TAG does give comments and objects to some of the development that's being requested, there seems to be a lot of overrides of land use that the county is making. And it's from my perspective, it's as if TAG is not being listened to. So I think part of the issue is how do we engage the public more to take an interest? Because, you know, I hear so often is that people love, you know, Templeton for its small town feel. But yet there's a lot of development that's occurring and that the residents have not supported, but yet the Board of Supervisors is overriding what the public has mentioned, because the gas station is one example where I think TAG received 40+ letters in response to that, all opposed to having that gas station.
Yeah.
Which was not just a gas station, but a car wash and a 24/7 fast food restaurant.
Right.
Similar to what's over at 46. So it's how do we engage the public more? Because we would love to see the public more involved here at our meetings as well.
Thank you.
If I may, maybe we should get back up there for a second. You know,
Just, I guess, couple of minutes, sure.
So we've had some turnover in our board for, people leaving the state, a couple of them. And one passed away, John Donovan, if you know.
Yes.
I'm sure you know him. So we've got some new people on, and I think we have some new enthusiasm, and like one of the things we've just done is we've resurrected our social media, Facebook pages and things like that. It was interesting. I got a call from one of the delegates today saying, wow. Cause he'd gotten on there and did some responses and he was getting all this feedback. So one of the battles, I'm sure you guys have the same thing, is trying to get outreach out to our community just so they even know what's going on. I mean, we're starting to get comments now about, gee, what's going on over at the sheriff's station? You know, I mean, we had a real heavy duty reviews and meetings on that whole sheriff's station thing. And then we also, getting responses, oh, I just heard there's a new gas station going in on Las Tablas. So, but we have some people that I think are gonna try to ramp up social media, and we're just trying to figure out all the ways we can do more outreach. So we're hopefully moving in that direction.
Well, thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Any other public comment? Anybody on Zoom wants to make a comment? I don't. Okay, all right, well, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Consent agenda, we have.
Just gonna make one note before you read through the list, on the consent item. Consent item D, I just wanted to note for the board and the public that, there was an error in the, proposed updated bylaws regarding the liaison role for TRF, and that we removed the wrong section. That has been corrected, and you should have received an update to that yesterday. We posted the corrected version online as well. So
Thank you,
just wanted to
thank you
note
for
that.
clarifying that. All right, so we have several items on our consent agenda, which include the minutes from our special meeting of June 4th, 2024. The minutes from the regular meeting, June 4th, 2024. We also have the treasurer's report from April 2024. We have a resolution number 06-2024, which is the revision to the board bylaws, as you mentioned. We have another resolution number 07-2024, which is the consolidation of districts biennial election, and resolution number 08-2024, adopting regulations for candidates. The next is resolution number 09-2024, which is community facility district assessment amounts. And lastly is resolution number 10-2024, which is measure A. And that's the adopting an annual consumer price index adjustment for measure A. Any question or comment on any of these items, or any of the board members want to pull any of these items?
I have a question on F.
Do you want to pull it?
No, I can question if it's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that 2% sealed in concrete, or can we visit that again at some point?
So F is, the item F is the CFD, and it has a 2% floor and a 6% ceiling.
Right.
Measure A is a 2%
Yeah.
ceiling, and that is sealed unless the voters approve a change.
That's it.
Anybody want, okay, any public wants to, anybody in public want to pull any items? No, okay, so I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for our consent agenda items, please.
So I'll make a motion that the board approve consent agenda A, the minutes of June 4th meeting, special meeting, and the item B, the minutes of the June fourth board meeting. And item C, the treasurer's report. Item D, resolution number 06-2024, the revisions to the board bylaws. Item E, the resolution number 07-2024, the consolidation of the district's biannual election, and resolution number 08-2024, adopting regulations for candidates. Item F, resolution number 09-2024, Community Facilities District Assessment Amount. And item G, resolution number 10-2024, Measure A, for the CPI adjustment.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
Pearson,
Aye.
and Fardonich.
Aye. And the motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, so business items, resolution number 11-2024, which is weed abatement. And we have Chief Peterson, I see standing up, ready to go.
Good evening, and thank you, members of the board. Tonight, we're asking the board to hear any public protests with regards to the weed abatement inspections we did prior to May 11th. We sent out notifications on May 11th, and this hearing tonight allows that any of those that receive a letter to protest that letter. We have gone back out and identified 10 parcels. Actually, I wouldn't mind making an adjustment to that. There is one parcel that's been cut. We want to eliminate that tonight. More than happy to do that, which would bring it down to 9 parcels. But however, after this meeting, we will go back out and have our contractor cut the parcels that you've identified as in violation.
Great.
For any questions.
Okay, great. Any questions for Chief?
I think it's more for the general manager. One of the questions I have is, given the fact that these are property owners that are in violation of our weed abatement policy, when we turn this over to the county to collect for the cost of the weed abatement, is there an administrative fee that's added on?
Yes, there is.
There is, okay,
It's about $350.
okay, thank you.
I believe it's
It's actually cited in the staff.
323.48.
And is that for each property owner? Okay. Thank you.
If there are no questions on behalf of the board, I'm going to go ahead and open this for public hearing to allow parties to protest or address any concerns regarding the district's weed abatement program. Are there any concerns or questions regarding this matter? Nope.
Okay, before you close the public hearing, if there's anybody here who wishes to, we did receive 2 written protests. Both property owners, the names are from Kel Mitchell and Julie Soto. They both happen to have property on Vineyard Drive that as of the initial inspection were in violation. But neither of those parcels remain on the exhibit A to this list, so they're not subject at this point to being cut by the district. They had some weed abatement performed from between the date of the first notification and now.
Okay, so we're clear. Okay, great. All right, since I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, since there are no other protests, and if there are no further comments from the board, I will entertain a motion.
I'm sorry, before you do, I would prefer it if there is a parcel on exhibit A that should be removed, I'd rather remove it now so that when you consider approving this, it's not reflected.
Which parcel is it?
So that is parcel number, it's number 7 on the violation, 041-091-003. They have completely cut and are in compliance.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for updating that. Okay, great. So now I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 11-2024, which is declaring the accumulations of weeds and debris to be public nuisance and authorizing abatement of those public nuisances.
Is that a motion?
Well, I could make that motion, I guess.
It sounds like a motion.
Okay, I'll make that motion, okay. All right, roll call, please.
Directors Fardonich,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
Logan,
Aye.
and Pearson. Aye.
Okay, motion passes 4-0. Thank you, okay, thank you. All right, next item is resolution number 1224, adoption of the 24-25 fiscal year budget and appropriations limit, and resolution number 1324, adjustment of cafeteria plan contribution.
Yes, good evening and thank you very much. So this item, would adopt and implement the fiscal year 24-25 budget. You spent about 2 hours discussing this in some length at your last board meeting. So I didn't anticipate going through this in any detail tonight, but I'm happy to answer any questions. I do want to point out a number of things that we've added to the budget document. You should have received that separately late last week. There's now, there was a revised title page, to a spelling error. The transmittal letter was not included in your prior version or the draft budget that you looked at previously. It is now included. It has some graphics and just a discussion of general conditions. We've updated the summary of fund balance pages. It was impacted when we reduced the expected revenue in Parks and Recreation from fundraising sources. The wage schedule has been updated to reflect a 4.0% cost of living adjustment for all full-time positions within the district. We have summaries for each fund that were not available previously. So that's a written description, a couple of pages about each fund, including a current year review of projects and then a long-term outlook. All of the line item detail pages have the word draft now removed. There were changes only to one line item details page or sheet, and that's in the Parks and Recreation Fund, again, relating to the fundraising revenue source, that particular line item that the board directed us to remove. And I believe that's a summary of all of the sheets that would have changed. The resolution, the first resolution, number 12, in addition to approving the budget itself, would approve this revised wage schedule, which is included in the budget. There's also the wage table that's included in the budget. There's also a wage schedule. It's really a document that is not in the packet. So I'm going to ask you to take a short break so we can provide this to you. The wage schedule it should be an attachment to the resolution, and we've omitted it. It's not that, it's actually the wage schedule. It's a separate document. It's not part of the budget, but
Okay, let's go ahead and take a short recess, please.
just take just a 2-minute recess. I bet it did not get. Oh, this is effective July 1st. Yes. Yes.
Yes. No problem.
Yeah, I know, you're in a hurry. You still got here by 8. Sure.
All right, I'll go ahead and come back. I'll start the meeting and then Natalie will come back with the copies pretty soon. So go ahead.
Okay, so in addition to, resolution 12-24, resolution 13-2024 makes one other adjustment to benefits for employees that is not immediately clear in the budget itself. And that is, if approved, this resolution would provide for a higher level of district contributions to the cafeteria plan, essentially health insurance, for employees hired after May 2014 who have 2 or more dependents enrolled in the district's health insurance plan. Presently, the district provides 2 levels of benefits for employees hired for employees. Currently, if you have one dependent enrolled in health insurance, the district's contribution is $1,281.99 per month. That covers roughly 100% of the employee costs and 80% of that first dependent's cost. And then subsequent dependents, the employees paying the full share of those future dependents. Thank you very much. So if this resolution were approved, a third level of contributions would be available at $1,665.72. It only would apply to, again, those employees hired after May 2014 and future employees. And only those that have multiple dependents enrolled in health insurance plan, and it decreases the cost, the employees' out-of-pocket cost. The third tier, the third level of benefits, it's typical for local government employers. The district hadn't previously offered it, but it has been a hindrance, an obstacle in our recruitment and retention efforts, and that's why it's put forward or recommended for inclusion now. I will tell you, we only have one current employee that has multiple dependents enrolled in the plan. The budget itself has sufficient funds to accommodate this increase. That employee's in the fire fund, happens to be. But over time, our makeup of employees might change, or who's enrolled in health insurance might change. Actually, changes kind of every year through open enrollment, and just there are changes, in terms of employees and dependents that happen to be enrolled in the health insurance plan. So that's essentially resolution 13-2024. That adjustment would pay for essentially 100% of the employee cost. Again, this is at the lowest cost plan. It's kind of complicated, but you could pick from multiple plans. I think there are 9 in our region that you could pick from. This happens to be the lowest cost plan that most of our employees are enrolled in. It would cover 100% of the employee cost and 80% of the first and then second dependent, or the rest of the dependents of family cost under that scenario. And then exhibit one, which now just passed out, is exhibit one to resolution 12-2024. This is the salary and wage table, and it just contains a little more information than we have included in the budget. It assigns ranges and steps and then lists hourly, biweekly, and monthly rates for each range the district maintains. When you look at the wage schedule, that's the item that's in the budget. You'll notice that not all ranges are represented, and not all of that various information is not here. So it's important to have that formally adopted by the board. This is a public hearing, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Otherwise, we would recommend that you would open the public hearing and accept any testimony regarding the budget, and at the conclusion of any testimony, you close the public hearing, then both resolutions 12 and 13.
Thank you. Any questions? For general manager? No, okay. All right, I'll go ahead and open it for public hearing. If there are any questions, comments, testimony for this budget? Anything, any comments? No, okay, I'll go ahead and close that. Any comments on this? We've discussed it at length, so.
No, I
you're all
think
familiar
we
with
discussed it at the last meeting, so, yeah, so I'm comfortable with the budget and, the, changes that are being proposed for 2024 and 2025.
Yeah, I noticed on here it says revised 7/1/24, is that?
That's the effective date of the resolution. It's the effective date of that wage schedule.
Okay.
That's when it would take effect.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll go ahead. So do you want to do two separate motions or?
We can include them together.
Okay, so I'll entertain the motion, please.
So I'll make a motion that the board accept resolution number 12-2024, approving fiscal year 2024-25 operating budget, appropriation limit calculations, and wage and salary schedule, and resolution number 13-2024, revising the cafeteria plan benefits for employees with 2 or more dependents hired after May 2014.
Great. Now, I have a second.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
Pearson. Aye. And Fardonish.
Aye.
And before you move on, I just do want to thank Natalie Glock in particular for her contributions to the budget document. It's a significant effort that takes several months of working with our staff and with our admin and finance committee and the workshop that you held a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
And it is much appreciated, so thank you. I know you're doing it at the same time as dealing with the internal audit or external auditors.
Yes.
And she was so calm that day. It was like, wow, this is impressive. Yes, thank you, Natalie. All right, so the motion.
She didn't know how she was going to entertain 6 people for a full day.
know.
As it turns out, they come for the food.
Yeah.
Oh, they come from.
Food.
Oh.
Well, they're like the foodie tour.
Oh, okay. All right, well, thank you, and yeah, and motion passes 4-0. Thank you again, Natalie. All right, the next item is California Special Districts Association Board of Directors election. So we'll need to review and select one of the 2 candidates for the CSC Board of Directors. General Manager, do you?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to note is there happen to be 2 people running this year. The incumbent, who many of you have probably met, Elaine Magner, I believe is how you pronounce her name, from Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District, is running. And then also Scott Duffield, who I think maybe all of you know from Heritage Ranch Community Service District. He's the general manager and a Templeton resident. 2 people are running. Technically, you're casting 1 vote for the 3-year term, but as it turns out, there's a vacancy in our region. And so the second place finisher, whomever that might be when all the votes are cast, will be appointed to the remaining 2-year seat. So both of these individuals will, unless something catastrophic happens or something, will be serving on the CSDA board.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, I guess we need to make a decision on that. I mean, I personally wanted to vote for Scott, but I know both are gonna get in, but He's a Templeton resident. I seen him and work. I've known him for years. I worked with him in the county, at the last meeting at the CSDA meeting, he was, I think, one of the people that was working on the, bylaws as well. So he's active. He's a nice guy. He's great to work with. So, I mean, my vote would be for him, but,
So if Scott were to be appointed, would that mean Elaine would be our local area representative?
Well, they have, the way the seats work is there, I believe, 3 seats per region on a rotation of a number of years, and it just so happens that one of the seats went vacant, and so Elaine and Scott would both be representing our area. If Scott were to win the vote, Elaine would be appointed to the 2-year term instead of a 3-year.
Okay.
yeah, so both will be on there. but
Okay,
it's just-
so-
I just want to support our local Templeton residents. So. I'm comfortable with them, so I know. So.
Well, I look at the application and I have to say, as for a candidate, I think Elaine did a far more comprehensive job in explaining or answering the questions to say why she wants to serve. But I think it might be good to just get fresh eyes. So it might be good just to make that rotation. So I would not be opposed to having Scott assume that role.
I would agree with that. I always like to have somebody local, but they both would be, so.
And
I have no objection. I agree with everybody.
all right. So I guess we need to make a motion.
That public comment for a second.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's have a public comment. Thank you for
I
reminding
won't
me.
even go out,
Yes,
because
please.
it's real quick. I just I don't know what I saw this on the agenda and I actually tried to look this up, so I don't understand what this organization does for us.
Oh, that's
So-
a great question.
If you could explain that in less than 2 minutes, I would
We'll do that.
appreciate it. I don't know. if
Sure, I'll take a stab at it. So CSDA is California Special Districts Association. It's a membership organization made up of the special districts within the state of California. There are many hundreds of special districts that are a part of CSDA. And they serve as kind of a clearinghouse of information. They have lobbyists they employ. They help educate us on pending legislation and on educational matters. They put on some conferences, a number of webinars and those sorts of things. There's also a local chapter that we're also a member of, the San Luis Obispo County chapter, where there's some local events that, kind of like a lunch and learn, there's lunch meetings and things of that nature. So really, it's an opportunity for us to have some involvement with the legislature through CSDA and educational opportunities. It's a membership organization. They're not governing, they don't regulate what we do, but they look out for our interest.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Great. All right, coming back to the board. I should make sure. Any other comments from public? I know there's something. Oh, no. All right. Coming back to the board, I will go ahead and entertain a motion then. What do we wish to do?
I'll make a motion that the board select candidate Scott Dunfield as the CSDA Board of Directors CA for the Coastal Network for the term 2025-27 election.
Okay, so do we need, I guess we don't need to mention Elaine as second.
No, that's gonna just happen.
Vasco. Okay, all right, you second. Okay, roll call, please.
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
Pearson. Aye. And Fardonish.
All right. Motion passes 4-0. Great, thank you. All right. And then last item, sadly, is the recognition of our outgoing board member Pearson. If you don't, please, if you don't mind coming to the podium. Well, in the recognition of you leaving our board, we wanted to present you with this plaque. I know it's been a shorter time for you than we expected, but I think your inputs were essential and I really appreciated them. I appreciated working with you and I do, on behalf of the work, wish you the best and your future endeavors. Okay, I know you've got busy with work, so thank you for joining us for that.
Page.
I just thank you for selecting me. I know you had a pool of candidates way back then, and I hope you have a pool of candidates this time around, but I really appreciate you taking the chance. And unfortunately, work commitments have pulled me to a different direction, so I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Okay, general manager's report.
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to just update the board on. First, we have, you'll recall at your last board meeting, you directed us to get the word out that we were looking for candidates for the board of directors. And that's generated some interest. I've fielded a handful of phone calls and emails. We've received 4 applications to date for persons seeking appointment. And expect a couple more to possibly trickle in based on people who have inquired. We set the deadline of July 9th. So those will become public once the board packet for the July 16th meeting is posted. You'll have all of the applicants in, and we have requested that anyone who does wish to apply attend that meeting, and we'll again circle back with those applicants to let them know how they can participate and invite them to attend. So anyway, that's a good sign. We've got 4 people so far, that's great. We had an issue with the Platts well about a week and a half ago. I alerted you to that. As time's gone on, that problem's probably somewhat more significant. Initially, we had some reports of some cloudy water in the northern part of the district on Thursday, June 6th, I believe. And was discovered that at the time, we thought it was a problem with the chlorination device. There's an analyzer that measures flow and adds chlorine until it reaches a certain level. And we thought that we had excess chlorine going into the system. And we did have some excess chlorine, nothing that exceeded state limits, but higher than normal residual. That was believed to be the source of the cloudy water. That well was turned off immediately. And we did flushing, pretty extensive flushing in the area to remove that water from the pipelines. But if people were using water while that water was in the water mains, it made it into their internal plumbing, and that led to some complaints and some concerns. And some people, I think we received about a dozen calls over the course of a couple of days. But that is since the flushing resolved it and that well is offline. However, in analyzing this further, we think that the well probably does have a problem. We're doing we have some testing scheduled for next Tuesday with a well driller and our hydrogeologist to evaluate the well. And then if we don't get sufficient information from the well testing, we're gonna pull the pump and actually send a camera down the well to determine the problems. We'll keep you updated on this. It's hard to say what the next steps are, but the Platts well is an important well. We had just brought it online for the season that week, which makes some sense as to why we had these kinds of problems. It had been off since last fall. It's one of our deep wells. It's a big producer for the district. So an important asset.
Would there be any concerns with water production? We're bringing on a number of other wells that were kind of on standby previously. It wouldn't be ideal to have lost that well for the whole summer, but I think that's kind of a worst case scenario at this point. We'll wait and see. We'll know more next week. And then finally, I will be out of town at the CSDA General Manager Leadership Summit for the first half of next week, returning midweek on Wednesday back to Templeton. So I'll be gone a couple of days early next week. Don't bother. Oh, you can bother me. But I won't be here, but you're welcome. I'll be available. Yeah. I'll be available. Okay.
Don't expect me. I don't think it's in a remote canyon without cell service or something. It should be just fine. And then just one other comment, and that is, we haven't, formally canceled the July 2nd meeting, but we've done our best not to put any items on there. We'll kind of wait and see how things shake out over the next week. I know that that'll be a meeting where we only have 3 board members and it's a holiday week. And so, but it hasn't been formally canceled yet, but I'll remain in touch with the board president as we get closer to that event. I don't know if if you're not gonna be available,
Yes.
I would like to know, because,
I'm around.
Me too.
Any other,
nothing else.
any questions for General Manager? I have a question. Any status update on the Bethel Park, sign and fence?
Fence, yes, we had multiple bids for the fence work. We've selected the low cost contractor and are waiting to get on their schedule.
Okay, so it'll be another month or so probably.
I hope not, but we don't have a firm date from, I think it's called Town and Country Fencing. It's the Town and Country, is that right? Fencing. And don't have a firm, we're working with the district attorney's office to get restitution from the driver, either through them or their insurance company.
You should put some shine.
I know, we're talking, we
Yeah.
just had, I don't know, it's like,
Don't run into it.
please don't run into the fence.
Reflector or
Don't
something.
run into the fence.
So I do have a question, Everett's Park and the improvements, do we have any update on the county's finance
Yes.
department and the requests that they were making of us?
Yes, we reviewed those in detail with our architect MIG last week. Our district engineer Lori Ziem has another meeting with the engineer and the architect team on Thursday. And we're trying to set up a meeting with the county, and Lori is regarding the storm drain quality measures that are probably the most significant item that the county is still commenting on. Since we're adding additional hardscape, the county is requiring that be dealt with, that it can't just go into a basin, it has to be treated in some way. And so we're trying to work on reasonable ways to cover that. Additionally, and it's something that I wasn't aware of. There's some parking lot improvements taking place, and that would be a stretch to say that. There's some minor changes to the parking lot to accommodate a sidewalk. Any areas of the parking lot that are removed and replaced are from this storm drain point of view, are considered new impervious areas. And so we have to accommodate treatment for those areas, even though it's an existing condition. So. Those are of all the comments we received, that's the one that's the most, needs some more work to fully resolve. Everything else was, a lot of the other things were actually fairly minor, changing references and page numbers and some forms the county wanted filled out, those kind of things, kind of a.
More clerical.
Yeah, not difficult, but this storm drain matter is something that we won't be able to get out of them most likely.
So if it's a replacement of the parking lot, so basically you're saying that we're just repairing it?
Well, no, there's some areas that the grade changes a little bit because we're shifting. You remember the
Yeah.
drive approach is being shifted a little bit to the right as you enter the park.
Okay.
Even the ADA parking stalls are being regraded to have proper ADA ramps. Well,
Okay.
those areas are for this purpose considered new impervious surfaces, even though they already exist.
Oh, I see.
So we've got to accommodate that in our storm drain calculations and in our proposed treatment system, which is just not designed right now, not accommodated. Those are the most significant hurdles that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Any questions from public for General Manager? Okay, great. Committee reports, we have one, so it's from RAC, June 5th, 2024. Any questions on those? No. Okay, all right. Director's report and or comments. Anybody was involved with anything that they like to share on behalf of the district? Everything's good, all right. Wonderful. I think that's the end. Well, okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you everyone for coming.